What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back to bring you guys some more interesting lore for that universe that we all know and love, Warhammer 40k. So a few months back, everybody was up in arms because it was the Tau versus the Death Guard. Or so, that's what it seemed. However, with the introduction of Psychic Awakening for the Greater Good, this was no longer the case. The Tau were now up against the forces of man, the Imperial Guard, as well as the Gene Stealer cults, and everybody was like, whoa, what the heck? They were fighting the Death Guard. What happened? So basically, the Tau Empire was in the same predicament that we currently are in, and that predicament is fighting off the grasp of Papa Nurgle. Now, the Tau were much more personal with Nurgle. They were literally fighting for their lives against the Death Guard in like ship-to-ship combat, and they were boarding their ships, and it was bad. And we're fighting off Nurgle by just staying at home and, practicing social distancing. Well, most of us. But anyway, this article that I'm going to be looking into ties directly into the Psychic Awakening Beyond the Startide Nexus Warhammer community article, which I will link down in the description so you guys can get the whole thing. But pretty much this is what they gave us at first. And this was Commander Shadowsun speaking directly to the personnel on the other side of the Nexus via messenger drone. So she says, I hope this message arrives in time for you to be warned, in time for you to act. We have successfully traversed the Startide Nexus and established contact with our lost brothers and sisters of the Fourth Sphere. As suspected, they had suffered a failure of their AL-38 slipstream modules, but we don't understand exactly what occurred. For your reference, I have attached the recordings of their surveillance drones. Most of the material was far too corrupted to gain useful information. The segments that were not, well, see for yourselves. So basically what these Tau see is like the gruesome carcasses and remains of the Tau that were pretty much torn apart by Tzeentch and his machinations of chaos. And then Shadowsun continues to say, these brave colonists entered the wormhole of the Nexus in search of new worlds and to spread the teachings of the greater good. But they only found death. The few survivors are now changed. As soon as they lay eyes upon our unfamiliar auxiliary troops, they react with open animosity. There is no trace of their own. Investigations are still ongoing, but none of the Fourth Sphere Tau survivors are willing to speak of the events before our arrival. So again, this shows that the Tau are crazy. They have been either corrupted by Tzeentch, or they're just in a state of shock that they're gonna attack anything that isn't resembling themselves, aka Tau. So essentially Tzeentch has made the Tau xenophobic, which is crazy to think about. And this is further explained later on in other books and such, that the Tau actually almost have a civil war with the Kroot because of the Fourth Sphere expansion survivors that literally are just ready to attack and kill at a moment's notice because of Tzeentch's ways. She continues to say that she and her forces managed to quell the situation for the meantime, but as soon as things seemed to quiet down, an armada of bloated, rotting Imperial vessels materialized in an explosion of warp flame. They immediately launched boarding vessels into the Tau's fleet. Within the vessels of the Tau, battles broke out. Massive scythe-wielding plague marines cut swaths of fire warriors and battlesuits completely in two with each swing. Yeah, this is when shit hits the fan. The Tau and the Death Guard are now full-on in combat, and there's pretty much nothing they can do. The Tau are unprepared, and they're fighting a losing battle against chaos. Shadowsun essentially continues to say that it gets worse because the longer that the battle goes on, the more infected and disease-ridden the Tau become. Very similar to what's happening to us. But anyway, Fearing the spread of disease, many Tau commanders had no choice but to self-destruct their ships, taking the Nurgle Marines and their plagues down with them. Like I said earlier, the Tau were fighting a losing war, and Shadowsun was ready to die for the greater good. However, this is when she decided to send out a messenger drone to warn the Empire, thus the thing that I was talking about at the front. This is all her message to those Tau to let them know that, hey, we need help, and on top of that, be prepared because these Death Guard have now followed the drone into the Nexus and will most likely appear soon after the drone. However, Shadowsun used this opportunity because most of the Death Guard followed the drone. Their forces were pretty much cut in half. So that's when she went on the offensive and she ordered her force for a full-out attack. The remaining Death Guard forces were either eliminated or they ended up retreating back into the warp. However, there was still the threat of those who followed the drone into the Nexus. The Tau then readied their forces on the other side of the Nexus to ambush the Death Guard. However, nothing ever came out. For months, the Tau kept their operations at the highest readiness, just in case if the Death Guard attacked. But they never did. And because of this, the Nexus defenses were permanently increased for that specific situation. And that is the beginning of the Psychic Awakening for the Tau. So this was just what happened between the Tau and the Death Guard, which leads me to believe that the Death Guard who went into the Nexus got flung out somewhere else, and that's where they will appear within the next, or not the next, but within their portion of the Psychic Awakening supplements. It's kind of weird, because yeah, this seemed to point that the Tau against the Death Guard were going to be in the next Psychic Awakening, and then they flipped the switch on us, and it's like, no, it's Tau versus the Astra Militarum, and that actually is a pretty interesting battle. So stay subscribed if you guys want to know what happened between the Tau and the Imperial Guard during the raising of Astorgius. It's a crazy battle, and it should be out, if not this week, then early next week, but it's crazy. Like, the Tau and the Zealots go at it, and it's crazy. But yeah, so things have been explained, things have now been cleared up. The Tau did indeed fight the Death Guard. This was not a mistake by GW. This was not GW starting something and never finishing it. It's just that that's what happened. After the 4th Sphere expansion, Shadowsun went out to see what happened to the survivors. They were crazy, they were killing the auxiliaries. Farsight entered 5th Sphere expansion, then managed to quell this. They kind of stabilized things, and then that's when the Death Guard attacked. They were losing. However, the messenger drone that she sent out into the Nexus saved them because it split the forces of the Death Guard. She managed to defeat the ones that remained. The ones that went into the Nexus vanished and will appear sometime later. After that, that is when the Tau start to colonize the worlds next to the Nexus, and that's when they encounter the Astra Militarum and the Gene Stealer cults. So yeah, that was everything summed up, and let me know what you guys think about this. Should GW have stuck with the Death Guard? Should they have just plain out just said, hey, it's going to be Tau, Astra Militarum, and Gene Stealers right from the beginning, so that we know what we're getting into and we're not taken aback by whoa, what happened to Death Guard, what's going on. So yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts below. Again, hit that like button if you enjoy the content we produce. If you want more of it, $1 on Patreon helps us tremendously. If not, we understand. There's still going to be videos for you guys to enjoy. Stay safe, stay healthy, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. This has been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.